Hi, everyone, and welcome to my podcast, Wellness Musings with Meg. This is my 11th episode, and today I'm going to be talking about something that this week has quite deeply influenced me with. So, I had a completely different idea of what I wanted to do this podcast episode about, but on Monday, I'm recording this on Wednesday, so not last Monday, but the Monday before, I just woke up with the most insanely painful headache. I felt like I couldn't get off the sofa. I was just continuously drifting in and out of sleep for an entire day. I just felt so rough and unwell. And anyway, it boiled down to that I was suffering with a little bit of burnout, which I think, and as this week has gone on, as you've probably noticed if you follow my YouTube channel, I have not posted at all apart from my last podcast episode. Other than that, I haven't posted anything because I've just felt so tired and I wanted to listen to my body. And I thought that that's why this would be an important episode to talk about wellness and starting a wellness journey or putting wellness into your lifestyle more. That can be something that's really tiring if you're somebody who already has a really busy schedule, busy life, and then on top of that you think, oh, I want to try and make some healthier decisions. It might be something as simple as I want to try and cook more meals from scratch. That is quite a lot of time and quite a lot of effort every day. Even if you meal prep, you've still got to find that time to initially prep. So that's what I want to talk about on this podcast episode a little bit, the importance of listening to your body and kind of de-stressing, and don't let yourself get to the point of burnout. So I will see you guys on the other side. Hi, my name is Meg, and you are listening to the Wellness Musings with Meg podcast. I am a fully qualified beautician and yoga teacher who has studied and worked in health and wellness since 2017. I have been obsessed with wellness my entire life and have always wanted to share my passions more. If you love health, wellness, and yoga and want to learn more, this podcast is for you. I will be bringing you all things wellness, from diet and lifestyle to beauty tips and tricks, and of course, yoga as well. So grab yourself a green tea and find a tranquil spot, and let's jump in. So as I said last week, I was starting to suffer a little bit with burnout. The reason I knew it was burnout was because I didn't feel really under the weather. And I think because even though I was burnt out, I still, I always know when I feel ill because when I have a client come to me, I love my job, I love doing what I do. And when I feel actually sick and unwell, I feel like I physically cannot do it. Like I know when I'm sick because I dread it, I hate it. I feel like I'm not actually physically able to do it. Whereas when I'm burnt out, it's more of like it's a grudge, like I begrudgingly go and do it. So that's how I kind of knew that it wasn't sickness. I didn't have any other symptoms of being sick other than, or being ill, other than having a headache. So I think it's important to catch burnout early, because the earlier you catch burnout, the easier it is to bring yourself back into it, and then ultimately get back to your state that you were in before, of being able to achieve and do what you want to do. So some of the symptoms that come with burnout are things like with me, headaches, stomach ache, fatigue, muscle pains, appetite changes, and sleep changes. I think this is where it can be difficult physically, because a lot of people, like if you're sick with anything, you could, these are all things that kind of come under all sickness. But I just think it's something that's worth bearing in mind, that just because you have the symptoms of being ill, and if you're working extremely hard, it doesn't necessarily mean you are sick. You might be suffering with burnout. And other things as well is things like feeling like a failure, self-doubt, cynicism, helplessness, not feeling any satisfaction in anything, feeling alone and really unmotivated. The unmotivated one for me is so key because, like I said, I love my job. I love recording for YouTube. I love editing. I love seeing my clients and doing my massages. I love, even though like I drive an hour and 20 minutes once a week to go and do all my clients' beauty treatments, I still love doing that. Like, I don't wake up in the morning and dread it. That's how I know. That's how I know that it's a problem with burnout and not a problem with actually being sick, because I still feel like I can do it, but I don't feel like motivated to do it. I don't wake up and go, oh my gosh, I'm excited for this or I'm excited for that. People who know me quite well as well, or again, like watch my channel quite closely, I do like a daily, I call it daily devotion. And I basically will sit and write like things that I'm grateful for, things that I'm proud of myself for, things that I'm looking forward to, who I'm sending love to, things that I love about myself, and things that I'm learning to love. Um, that's like my morning routine that I do pretty much every single day. If I feel like I'm like the time in the morning when I'm about to do that and I go, what's the point? That's a key moment for me. When I actually sit there and think, what is the point of being like grateful, or what's the point, like it's not going to help, that's when I think, firstly, that's when it's the most important to do it. But also that's when I think, oh, okay, life's getting a bit much. I need to take a step back. Some of like behavioral things as well. It's like reduced performance in all tasks. So like everyday tasks and work tasks. And I think this is something that then it creates a bit of a vicious cycle, because you then start feeling like a failure, which is what I said before in one of the symptoms, because like your tasks aren't at that optimum level. But this is also why it's so important to catch burnout, because if you can sort it out, you can then go back into it, back into what you want to do, and everything will be increased. Your performance in everything will be increased. People can also feel isolated, procrastinate a lot, which is something that I definitely find. I'm on my phone a lot for work, and I definitely notice when I'm starting, like life's starting to get a bit much for me, I'll kind of not want to go out and I'll start just looking at my phone all of the time. Another thing is like angry or emotional outbursts. I get very weepy. um, and the last one that I read was that some people will suffer with like substance abuse whenever they start suffering with burnout, because it's their way of being able to cope. And I guess if they're not feeling satisfied in their life, they're going to find that satisfaction in a quick fix. Burnout is such a vicious cycle because you feel like crap. So you do things to try and help you. And you think, a lot of the time, you think working harder and trying harder is going to help you to feel better, but it's just going to make everything worse and worse. So it's so important to listen to your body and to take a step back. I mean, I think everybody's going to have different symptoms of burnout in different ways. And so it might be worth, like, I have in my head like these mental key moments and these key like times when I notice when I'm starting to, like, when I feel like life is just getting too much, and I will instantly stop. But those moments I'm aware of. So I know when things are like, when I'm getting a bit emotional, or when I feel like a failure, or I'm really, really tired or unmotivated. Those for me, out of those symptoms, are like my key ones. Those are the ones that I go, okay, this isn't sickness. This is, life is too much. And then I will then accordingly do what I need to do to make myself feel better. But I think if you're someone who maybe doesn't have that, it might be worth finding those symptoms and taking note of those symptoms, so that you know when they flag up that you need to you need to do the next steps to kind of help yourself feel a little bit better. For me, I think it's quite important to listen to your body as soon as these things happen. So I will catch it as early as I can, and then I will work accordingly, and I will look at what is causing that burnout. So I'll look at, like, sometimes I write a list of what's going on in my life, one thing I do that I find really, really helpful is I actually keep a paper diary. And the reason I keep a paper diary is so I can flick back. And then, so for example, when I suffered with burnout this past week, I was like, why am I suffering with burnout? I don't understand it. What's going on? Like, there's no reason for me to feel like this, which I think a lot of people do because you don't put together how much is going on in your life. And then I looked back and I realized that not only had I been working extremely hard because I'm taking a week off in like 3 weeks' time to go away on holiday. So I've been shooting and editing content for that, plus trying to do content for every day as well, plus my everyday job. But then I was also every weekend going and like socializing and doing something. And often because I live so far away from all my friends and family, every weekend I was driving like an hour or 2 hours there and then an hour and 2 hours back. So it's again like I wasn't actually stopping. Yes, going out and seeing your friends is a good way to kind of help with burnout. But I think the fact that I was like having to get up early every single day, get ready, make sure everything was sorted, make sure everything was organized, pack the puppy up, go to wherever I was going, and then you have to like see people all day, and then you end up getting in the car and then you end up driving back. I know it sounds like a proper like middle class problem, but when you don't stop, and I mean like actually stop and let your brain relax and take in what's going on, like it can be really quite a lot for you to take. So when I looked back at my paper diary, I realized that like I'd gone back to see my parents, I'd gone to London, I'd gone to my sister's graduation, I'd gone to London again. And then I also went to I went to Oxford for my grandparents' wedding. I'd gone to back to see my boyfriend's family twice, and then I'd gone to see friends. Like they'd all been every single weekend. I was literally like packing a bag, going and staying somewhere, and then coming back. Like there was no days where I was not doing anything. There was no days where I was like being able to do things as simple as clean my house or just like sit and watch something on the telly. And I think that these are important things to remember, that you do sometimes just need to stop and do absolutely nothing. So that's pretty much what I did this past week, which I guess goes on to my next thing of like what things helped make you feel better. So on that Monday when I felt really rough, I I mean I felt so unwell. I really felt weird. I honestly thought I might have had COVID. I felt that kind of same drain and heavy and headachy. But like I said, because I knew that I would have like if I had a client booked in, I would have happily done that. I knew that I wasn't unwell, and I didn't have something actually making me sick. I was just very tired and very drained and basically beginning to suffer with burnout. So I wrote a list of some things that I wanted to do that would help me to feel better. And everyone is going to feel different. But basically, like for me, I find walking in nature really, really helps. I find exercising for no reason really helps. This is going to be different to what most people think, but obviously, I record a lot for my job. I'm always recording for YouTube. A lot of the time when I'm doing yoga, I mean, yes, I'll do a little bit every day, but if I'm like doing a proper intense yoga session, I'm normally either teaching it on camera or teaching it in person. So it's really hard for me. It's not often that I will do absolutely like yoga literally just for me. And that's quite important if you're someone who does exercise and does yoga. So like yoga is basically moving meditation, and the idea is that you basically completely think about your own body and what you're doing in that moment, your breath, your body. So when I'm then teaching yoga, I'm not thinking about my body, I'm explaining what I'm doing, which changes it a little bit from being proper yoga, moving meditation to like teaching how to do yoga, whether it's on camera, whether it's in person. So that's why I basically was like, for the whole week, I was like, no, every time I practice yoga, I'm doing it for me, and I'm going to do it for how I want to do it, listen to my body, listen to what I want to do, and try and better myself. So that's another thing that I do. Yeah, walking in nature. I took Oakley out. We went on quite a few different walks. And yeah, I did things as well that I knew would make me feel better. Like I went through my entire wardrobe and cleaned it out. In fact, I went through my entire house and threw away so much stuff. Like I had a proper cleanse. So this past week, I did all the things that I knew would make me feel better. There was definitely like Monday, I went out for a walk. That was kind of my goal. And I did a bit of cooking. I love baking, and that made me feel better. And that helped. Tuesday, I basically just did nothing all day. I basically ate everything that I cooked the day before. And I just enjoyed it, and I just relaxed and watched movies and let my body rest. Wednesday, I again was like walking in nature. I took Oakley out, and then I ended up doing a little bit of yoga for me. Um, Wednesday was a little bit stressful because I had to take Oakley to the vet because I thought he'd broken his leg. He was very unwell. But luckily he's fine now and he's all good, and it wasn't a broken leg, so that's okay. But yeah, Wednesday I ended up just kind of chilling and not really doing much again. Thursday I did go to work, I won't lie. Friday, same thing. I cooked a lot. I started doing workouts for me. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Like I read a lot as well. I started listening to podcasts and audiobooks that are going to help. Saturday, I then started doing my house, and I literally just went through my entire house. And Sunday, I did my wardrobe, which was a mammoth task. It was huge. But Monday came around and I felt so much better. And I think it's important because throughout the whole week, I kept thinking, I'm doing yoga. Why am I not filming it and posting it? Or I'm out for a walk. Why am I not like, I need to hurry this up, or I need to plan, or I need to think about like my next move? Because that's what I'd normally do is when I go on a walk, I literally think about work. And I would be like when I was doing my wardrobe, I was like, this is such a waste of time. My wardrobe can survive. Like it's okay. I'd rather it's overfilled and I use this time doing something else. And then I'd be like, no. And this is where it's important to allow yourself to relax and completely immerse yourself. Like I literally didn't look at my phone pretty much the entire week because I didn't want to waste my time looking at social media. I had a thing come up on my phone that said I'd like been looking at my phone for like 4 hours a day. That is such a waste of my life. So that whole week I was like, no, I'm not going near my phone. I'm not going on social media. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just going to focus on me, focus on making myself feel better, and focus on making my life better. So that's what I did for that week. But constantly, like my brain was like, we could be doing this instead, or we could be doing, and it's teaching yourself to be like, no, I need to relax. I need to let myself completely separate from work or what is causing that burnout. And I need to focus on the things that are going to help me to feel better. Little wins are always really good. I love the idea of having little wins. So every time I do something like go to the gym, or like go to the gym, even things like editing, recording, going to work, like tiny things. Sometimes they're big things, sometimes they're little things, like as simple as I got up early. And sometimes it's big things like you reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. You know, they're little wins, and I always try to make sure that I like celebrate them because that helps me to feel better. That helps me to notice whether they're big things, little things, that they are important, because you can't really do anything big without doing the small steps to get there. So it's important that you celebrate all of it and not just the one big thing. Otherwise, you'll never ever enjoy life. You'll just be constantly chasing a goal that is then harder and harder to get to because you're getting more and more tired and more burnt out. So yeah, that's one of the things I use to prevent getting burnt out is little wins. And I'll allocate days where they're like nothing days. Um, that's another thing that I do. And I just try and like enjoy each moment. Like I try and enjoy the downtime. And I'm really working on trying to separate my work and my personal life. I obviously work from home all but one day a week. So I've starting work at like 9 o'clock and I finish at 6. That is my work day. And I treat it as if I was like going to work somewhere else. I also think gratitude is really good for helping with burnout because the more you're grateful, the more you'll kind of be happy about where you are and you'll kind of get a bit more perspective on your life. So, like I said, every day I do my little, like, I call it devotion, but like it's like my morning devotion to me, to my life, to everything. And I sit and I think of things that I'm grateful for. And that really helps me because it makes me grateful. And I honestly think gratitude is one of the best things you can do for your mental health. And then I think of things I'm looking forward to, which kind of often puts in perspective what's going on in my life. If I've got 1,000 things that I'm looking forward to, but they're all things that are really big and maybe not stressful, but they take up a lot of time and energy, that makes me realize that I'm using a lot of time and energy. So, yes, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm then like, okay, I need to be mindful that I'm going through a busy period. And then I think of things that I'm proud of myself for, which again, I'm often looking back and I'm thinking, okay, so what have I done recently that I'm proud of myself for? If there's lots of really big things I know I've done a lot of work to do, then I think, okay, there's a lot of things that I'm proud of myself for, but they're really big things. I've clearly been busy lately. So I feel like when I do my morning practice, it helps me realize how crazy my life is at the moment. Sorry, my puppy's just running and he's run off. So, yeah, I hope this helps everybody. I hope this is something that makes you think a little bit about your life, about what's going on, about how important it is to look at your mental health, your mental state, and don't ever rule out burnout. Some people have got a really high tolerance and some people not so much, and that's fine. We're all different. But it's important to work and learn to work so that you give yourself that break. Book that holiday if you need it. Turn your phone off if you need to. Just do what you need to do to keep yourself at your optimum level, because you will end up going downhill and not achieving as well as you need to achieve unless you learn how to give yourself a break. It's so, so important. It will help you to achieve so much more if you just take a step back and let your brain relax. We are not built to go at 100 miles an hour 24/7. Thank you so, so much for listening. I really hope this helped you. Please subscribe, please like my channel, please, whatever you can do, it will really help. The more support I get on this channel, the more I can bring you guys free content on wellness, on yoga, and everything in between. So thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.